Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Kaiser here. Today's video is a back to basics guide on Cupid or Jaguar or Beetle Spike or any bleed card, especially the mechanic on bleed. Now let us begin by looking at my current AXIEs at hand. I can assure you nothing has changed. It has the Energy Guru rune, it has all the charms like usual, Feather Fan, a Moon Stem, a Bird Charm, a Pop. Oh, Jhustine has challenged us to a battle. I guess live streaming starts now. Not really live streaming, but a live testing starts now. Begin. I'll just use scissors. I like scissors anyway. Nice. Let's go first. Okay, so we're going first. If I was lucky, I would have gotten a Castrol, and that would be so good. Looks like my opponent, Jhustine, is using a very aggressive Trinut back lane with a shield, kind of shield, bug front lane, and a Pango Beast mid lane. Sturdy Fighter is really good though. It can turn defense into offense, so I have to pay attention. So what I did is I returned the Swallow because I know next turn, if he uses a shield, I can bypass the shield and go straight for his life. But I guess he didn't do that. He used the Kotaro Eye into a pincer, which applied bleed on me. So looking at this now, I really wanted to use the Swallow, but between a Swallow and a Castrol, Castrol's always bad because I get to disable. And now I just continued with a Swallow. I am looking at the history and I'm leaving it on because I want to keep track of what's going on. So he used a bug to or bug secret. So it could be a fishnet, it could be a snail shell. What could it be? I think the best move I think is just to early bird first and see what I get. Okay, let's see what we got. It's a gill. So therefore, I look at my draw pile. There's a chance I could draw a goldfish or a Nemo. So let's shuffle away these two cards. I did, I got a goldfish. Let's shuffle away that, let's see what we get. Gill. Okay, never know. Might top deck. Ooh, it's a Nemo. The Nemo is good. That was a very nice sequence. It's my opponent is trying to stack up Nutcrackers. And a Ronin. A Ronin is really painful if utilized with your very last energy. Back to my turn, see what's available. Always Castrol. Castrol is so good. And then Shoalstar to get rid of the front line. And then a Risky Fish into a Swallow. The reason why there is no damage from the Energy Guru from the Swallow is because Energy Guru only deals damage based on energy cost. So if it costs 0, it's 0. If it costs 1, then it is 6 per energy cost. But because it's weak, I have a weak on my bird, so it's definitely going to be a 5 damage. Same goes if the beast has a Pangolin, so from 6 it'll become a 5. I guess here I can use the Little Owl to get rid of the... it's not enough. I need 2 more cards to get rid of the midline Pango. And I chose this sequence instead of the Cupid to kill off because I want to land the Cupid on the back line. And looking at my draw pile here, I know I'm going to get these cards. I know I'm gonna get the early bird, the Mavis, the double sword, and the 0 cost glove, the shield. Because I know I'm going to draw, I'm just going to start planning now. I think I'll early bird into a double swords if I get nothing else from the draw. That's pretty decent. That's how much? 180 plus damage. Early bird 60 gives Prime Energy Gurus another 6, and then another 6 because it's Reckless Hunter. Plus 55. Plus 55. That's 182. Why 55? A sword will only deal 50, but towards a Reckless Hunter beast, which takes 10% extra damage, that is 55. So doing the math, it's 182. His life is 174. I guess I have enough to kill him. Especially if his shield couldn't save him. The reason why his shield couldn't save him is because he had a Risky Beast, and the Risky Beast gave me additional 15 damage to take him down. If not, he would be on maybe 3 life, 2 life. As you can see, I'm on Bear 3, which is a very nice rank. I got there because of Cupid. So let us look on the basics. So we've done our live testing. Now let's go into theory. we always need a little bit of theory in our lives. What do we know? We know that it's a 60 damage card, costs 1, and it applies bleed for 4 turns. And what is bleed? So if you've seen it already, it's a debuff. If an enemy AXIE plays a card, takes 15 HP loss per card. We say, oh, what's the benefits of that? Then it's like so little, just 15 damage. You might not even play the card. Well, it's subtle damage. Let me quickly revamp the description on the left before we continue. It could be Cupid, it could be Jaguar, it could be Beetle Spike, it could be a dominant predator, it could be a razor blade on a chubby, it could be a razor blade on anything actually, regardless. It could be a piranha. There's so many cards in the game of AXIE Infinity Origin which gives bleed, and I'm choosing Cupid because I use Cupid. You can use any other card in replacement of that. Okay, let's go back to the actual point. The benefits of bleed is that it's a subtle kind of damage. 15 damage per card. You really think about it, it adds up over the course of an entire game, especially if you use it early game. Not just early game, if you use it late game, and if your opponent's AXIE health is below 15, then suddenly it's like you're pinning them to a wall, or it's like a game of chicken. Who's the first to move loses. And you can kind of say that bleed could be like a sleep, a disable, a disarm, or a stun, because you heavily discourage the opponent from doing anything. And that is if the AXIE is still alive with its teammates, you know. The opponent might not even use that AXIE. But if it's the last AXIE standing and that AXIE is below 15 HP, bleed is no longer a sleep or disable or disarm. It's a direct stun, because any move will kill it. Now, some opponents will let it suicide if they can take you out at the same time, forcing a draw. But it rarely happens, and most of the time it is in your favor. 90% of the time. Now, let's just say if it is not the last standing AXIE, there are still other AXIEs around in the team, and you hit an AXIE and it's below 15 health and it's under the bleed lock. Let's call it a bleed lock. They have a choice. The owner has a choice to make. The opponent has a choice to make. Do I use one of the cards from that AXIE and lose 15 life? Or do I not use any of the cards and pass the turn and it stays alive? Either outcome is a win-win for me. Either outcome is good for me. Letting it live, so what? It'll stay bleeding for 2 more turns. If it uses a card and die, even better for me, because one of the cards is used, but the other cards which you draw into, if you're the opponent, you draw into the other cards, they go into the discard pile because they all turn into revenge cards. That way, you heavily discourage your opponents from hitting you, even if the AXIE is full health, because you want to stay healthy and you're bleeding, you don't want to do anything. You want to chill and relax and wait for 4 turns to pass. 4 turns though, it's super long, and 15 HP per card stacks up, especially when you're doing a 1 versus 1. It might help you pull the opponent's AXIE's health low enough for you to take them out with just 3 cards. Let's talk about application, shall we? Let's not really do theory now. How do we apply it? How do we use these type of cards, bleed, as a mechanic? Well, first things first, we don't use it to last hit an AXIE. AXIE is low on life. Don't use Cupid, don't use Jaguar, don't use Beetle Spike to try and kill the AXIE. You want to bleed a living AXIE. Like after being hit by a Cupid, they still have a bit of life to go on. And think of it like a chess pin in the game of chess, you know, where you put your rook and your rook has a laser eye pointed at the king, and your opponent is like, oh, let me cover it with something. So it covers the laser from the rook to the king. Therefore, your king is alive. I mean, the opponent's king is alive. But if that chess piece moves, the king is under lock again. So therefore, the unit blocking the king is locked and it cannot move. That is what we call a chess pin. So let's just say the opponent has an AXIE, and then he has a dead AXIE. You want to bleed the midline, so that the midline is discouraged from playing any cards, causing the midline AXIE to die. And if it's on low life, if the midline AXIE is on low life, which when I say low life, I mean below 15 health, any cards the opponent draw on that midline is almost, I repeat, almost useless, because he can only use one of those cards. So in application, just don't kill the midline, keep it alive, you know. The longer it is alive, it's better for you. Think of him like a secret double agent working on your side. So is Cupid best paired with any cards? Are there any combos with Cupid? Not really, but it is best paired in the tempo strategy team, which is like mine. You see in a previous video on tempo, you will understand. It's also best paired with Kestrel if the Kestrel has a moon stamp or a sun stamp. Now why is that? Because Castrol with a Moonstem and Sunstem will not interfere with the health of the midline AXIE or the frontline AXIE going down further. Therefore, Bleed can really bring out the potential of putting it at a low health but not killing it at the same time. And since Bleed is a 4-turn thing, 4 turns feel like an eternity for the opponent. For them, it is so long. 2 turns is bad already. 4 turns is worse. And you want your opponents to feel that. Now let's talk on the other side of the spectrum. What if you're the one getting hit with a Bleed? If you're hit with a Bleed, I do not recommend you to use any card on that AXIE. You might have reasons. You might say, no, but I want to do this. But I have to do this. If you're desperate and you have no choice, yes, you can use those. You can use cards on that AXIE. But I won't recommend you do it unless it is truly the exception. Like you can win the game because you did, or you can force a draw because of that. Are there any ways to deal with that? Yes, you can stall. What if you can protect the bleeding AXIE with a summon in front? Or you can stall the game with a Castrol. You know, stall it long enough to the point where Bleed does not matter anymore. Or at the very least, 2 turns are taken off of Bleed. And once Bleed is over and your AXIE is healthy and happy, you can take action. Now, I guess this ends the really brief lecture on that. Let us go into our first game to showcase Cupid. Now let's take a look at who we are facing against. Okay, he is a Goda, Angle Beast, the usual chubby, cottontail, and this midline uses a double Peacemaker build, and the backline has another Goda, so this is very Goda-centric team. Let's see what he does. He uses an eggshell. Okay. So I guess my starting hand is, in a sense, a perfect sequence because I can use all my cards. Being able to use all my cards is a good thing. Okay. Oh, a double Peacemaker. Okay, always go with a Castrol whenever you get the opportunity to. Castrol is always good. Ooh, look at that Castrol giving me value. That is a 1 energy value. Because that's one energy he couldn't use, and he returned the energy tail. It's okay. I led with a risky fish because it deals the most damage, and swallow doesn't do anything for me. A swallow on a pangolin scale, if used initially, is a bad move, so I don't want to do that. Ooh, he used a hair, a balloon, okay, and a Mavis. That's pretty interesting though. Now my mini goal I had was, if I see a Mavis, my goal is to get 2 bird cards and try to do something. Because if I can do something, I could kill the Mavis. But I need 2 bird cards to do that. It's okay. I still managed to do my goal of trying to nibble down the health of the backline. Which is kind of like an AoE strategy. It's not a perfect AoE strategy, but it is a strategy nonetheless. That's very beautiful sequencing from my opponent. He made sure he had no other attack cards when he used the hair. So I used the Cupid, and I summoned a Mavis. Why didn't I use the sword? I could have killed the midline. But no, I wanted him to live. What if he drew cards on his midline? And you can see he did. He drew a Peacemaker and another bird card on the midline. It's good for me. That's very good for me. And because of that, it gave me the win. Let us look at another showcase for Cupid in this game too. Like my opponent is playing a triple Aqua with the front line using a Goda and ways to heal it. This team can be dangerous if my opponent draws a Koi early, because an early game Koi is very painful, especially on my front line. Let defend Inkling to a balloon. Okay. Balloon. Oh, Drawing Castrol is perfect here. And I Castrol into a Cupid. Why not Babylonia? Because I don't want to get a fear. I don't want to be feared, so I don't want to get a confused card on my draw pile. Every confused card hurts. It stacks up. It's those small things you don't realize until it just piles up and then you crash and burn because of it. Okay, I use the Gill into an early bird. To a swallow. Yeah, I have enough to kill the front. With this type of sequencing, I can position my goldfish so I can drop more cards. And clear to dig a little bit deeper. Ooh. That was a tough blow. Drawing a void is always a bad feeling. But I did my best. Okay, a piranha. To an inkling. Okay. Yeah, that will make sense. That he'll do that. I'm hoping to draw a Castrol though. Castrol will be really good right now. Yes! That's nice. Drawing a Castrol is so good. Now, one cool thing about the early bird, my early bird has feather fan, so when I hit with an early bird, it's supposed to give my teammates feather, one for each teammate. But because both are dead, it immediately triggered the feather effect, giving 4 damage per feather. See that? 6, 4, 4. The 6 is from the Energy Guru, the 4 and the 4 is from the feather fan. And that helped me reduce my opponent's life down to 12. Suddenly all of his cards on that AXIE is useless because every hit from him will kill him. And he couldn't even force a draw with that. So that's good. That's a win for me. 2 wins so far. Well, technically all the games I'm gonna show you is a win? Is it? No. The goal today is just to show you how beautiful Cupid can be utilized. And if you can get it, you can get the gist of what I'm trying to say, you can level up your game in the arena. Okay, looks like my opponent is playing an aggro team. Not really aggro team, it's sort of like a mix between aggro and sustain. Still feels pretty aggro. Maybe a mix. Maybe a mix between aggro and sustain. I'm not gonna say mid-range because this doesn't feel like a mid-range team. Killing off the mushroom must have been one of the worst feelings ever, but at the same time I cannot let the mushroom live, so I had to kill it. And putting Cupid on the front line is good because, you know, 15 damage stacks up eventually. Ooh, I always use Risky Fish on my mid line because it has the pure power root, therefore you'll deal the most damage out of all the attacks I can ever deal with my AXIE. Okay, that is a cactus. Oh, that was pretty good. So I cleared because I think those cards deal really lackluster damage, and I need high damaging cards right now for this situation. I want to get the midline on such a low life that no matter how much he shields, he will die to a Shoal Star, if I get Shoal Star. Oh, Ronin is so painful. Ah, Castrol, good timing. Good timing. So here I could choose between a Mavis and a Sword. I chose Mavis because, let me show you my draw pile. Look at that void. I have 3 cards which I can use. I can use a Cupid, I can use Early Bird, I can use a Little Owl. If I get all these 3 cards, I want to make sure I can play all 3 of them. Because Void's gonna eat up one of my energy. And we all don't want that. Okay. Oh, this is such bad luck. I can use Cupid for free, but I really wanted to get either the Early Bird or the Little Owl. Because the Early Bird will draw me into the Little Owl. And look at my hand, it's terrible. That's okay, we have a Cupid, right? Let's see what happens. Oh! Some people just concede. Wow. I guess that saying is true, that you win some games but you don't deserve the win. Well, that's one of those games. But still, a very good highlight for Cupid. Discouraging your opponents till they quit. Let's check out this team. Calcium Armor with a Shiba. Interesting. Midline Little Peas with a Confident and a Ronin. Ooh, pretty scary. I think my opponent is playing a very aggressive team with the potential to get into Rage mode if I don't play my cards right. I'm starting off strong though, with a clean sequence of cards. To the point I used up all the cards in my hand. Starting hand. Ooh, AXIE. AXIE is great when the AXIE's life is low, like below 50. If it's not below 50, it's okay, it can target anything. So it has its uses. Oh, this is a perfect sequence for me also. Getting the Shoal Star, hitting the AXIE in front. And the AXIE in front has Calcium Armor, which doesn't really help against that. I still cannot decide if Calcium Armor is better or Leftover Potion is better. I personally believe Leftover Potion is better. Because you heal 4% and you keep healing every turn. It stacks, whereas Calcium Armor does not stack. It stays the same every turn. And if you don't immediately use it, you don't get the value. You know, some may argue Calcium Armor is better because even at full health I gain value. Yeah, that is why I'm no expert. Maybe some of you guys in the comments can talk about it. Ooh, it looks like my opponent is getting ready to go into Fury mode. I drew a very nicely timed Kestrel. So now my opponent cannot go into Fury mode, he has to wait one more turn to go into Fury mode. Let's see what I have. Okay, I could Early Bird first to see what I draw. Ugh, Cupid. Okay, my opponent's down to 56, but I was already planning to use the sword, that's why his life drops to 6. I could have used the Mavis. My draw pile is empty, so I'll redraw into my entire deck. But I am willing to bet that I will not die to this. Or at the very least, he will force a draw. Because if he used one card, which is not a double cost or 2 cost, if he used a single cost, he will die. Oh, but it looks like he got lucky. Yeah, he got lucky for Little Branch. That was very lucky. That was a good move by him. And was that a bad move by me? I don't know. I still think my gut feeling is right. Okay, let's quickly go into Rune Crafting before we end. Malediction! Malediction is so nice. Let's go again. Oh, okay. Aquatic Charm of Power. That's pretty good. I'll give it to a Risky Fish for my midline. Let's hit to a level 8. Are we level 8? Oh, we're level 7. Do we get to get 1 Moondust? Let's see what we got. Pure Skill. One more time. Okay, Plant Charm of Faith. That's fine. It looks like I've topped up some SLP for this. And I'm gonna try out Ronin B. Now, I don't recommend you to do Ronin B. I did it because I'm a bit greedy. Aquatic Charm of Power. Not bad. Let's do one last one. Charm of Focus. That's not it. Let us see what we get from our rare stat charm. We get to choose, so because I get to choose, I'm gonna do an Aquatic Charm of Vitality. This time we have an Ancient Moonstone, so let's see what we get. Okay, Pure Power is fine. I can always sell my old one and use this one. One more. Reptile Charm of Endurance. Man, of all the charms, Endurance are the worst. Okay, Plant Charm of Faith. I guess we are 2 more small crafts away from level 8. Let's do a beginner. 2 beginner crafts. Yeah. We are finally level 8 with 2 epic Moondusts. Let's see. Oh, if you don't have enough, shall we disenchant? Let's disenchant one pure skill. What else can we disenchant? Maybe not runes anymore. Maybe a charm or two. Maybe a charm of nah. Still, that one still has utility. Let's try something more useless. Ah yes, why not a endurance from the bugs? Or the one from the reptile? It should be an endurance charm. We're not sure yet what endurance charm we should do. Maybe we'll just do the bug. Everyone wants the power on the bug anyways. Yes, okay. We have disenchanted it. Back to the crafting. We can do one advanced Ronin A craft because we're finally level 8. Let's do 2 moon dust. I said I don't want to do it. I want to spread it thin, but it's okay. Just for this time. Ooh, Charm of Vitality. It's not bad. I can give it to my frontline AXIE. Let's quickly equip it. And that is it. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys again soon. Take care.